What's up? This is Ricky Brumfield, Georgia Tech Special Teams Coordinator, and you watching FanView Podcast. Thank you.
Welcome to the FanView Podcast. It's your boy G Sports back at it.
Sure, can't hear him back at it again.
And we got my dog in the building, man. Georgia Tech Special Teams Coordinator, Ricky Brumfield. Real good friend of mine. Been trying to get you on, man. I know you're down here recruiting right now in the boot. Man, we always like to start our podcast off, though, man. Just talking about your journey. What got you into coaching, man, and talk about getting to your new spot, man, down in Atlanta at Georgia Tech now.
Yeah. Man, first of all, I wanted to be on before, man, but, the schedule's in the line, but I'm actually glad it aligned, man, and worked out perfect, man. I appreciate what you're doing and saw you growing up, man, from what you was doing before to where you at now. So it's always good, man. It's always a blessing to see people grow. As far as myself, man, I'm from here. You know what I mean? From the West Bank, cut off. Went to Shaw. I was Bishop Shaw High School. Went to college at Utah State. Met my wife out there. We ended up moving back to West Virginia. I played like a year arena football, like Arena 2 football, Bismarck Blaze. You know what I mean? I was making like about $300 a week. You know what I'm saying? They paid for the food, but the food was like coupons. You know what I'm saying? It was like coupons at McDonald's and Wendy's and KFC. And I remember it was they gave us a coupon. It was like a $15 coupon at this place called Grizzlies. It was like Applebee's.
Come on, man.
Man, we used to trade coupons. You know what I mean? Like, hey, bro, I give you 2 McDonald's, 1 Wendy's. For that, you know what I mean?
The most out of it.
Bro, you know what I mean? But it was in Bismarck, North Dakota, man. But it was fun, bro. It was good, you know what I mean? And that was my little short time experience playing professional football. Did that, and after a year, it was like, yeah, it ain't gonna happen for me. So, I kind of started when we moved back to West Virginia, or moved to West Virginia, where she's from. I started working at a detention center and ran into a guy named Bill Kerr. And we were just talking football, you know what I'm saying? He was coaching at a high school, and he ended up saying, man, you need to come coach. And I ended up coaching over there for like 2 weeks.
So you weren't even thinking about coaching before that?
Not really. I still was wanting to play ball, you know what I'm saying? And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I really ain't know what I wanted to do, man. And I obviously always loved football because me and him, we talked football all the time.
Right.
And he was just like, look, man, you need to come coach football with us, bro. Come on out there. And I went out there, man, was coaching receivers for a couple of weeks. And then he ended up leaving. He got like a graduate assistant job at Union College in Kentucky. And probably about a month later, he called me up and said, hey, man, we need a receiver coach, graduate assistant job. You know what I mean? And this was like in 2003, 2004. And I was making probably like $25,000, you know what I'm saying? Balling in West Virginia. Bro.
Right.
And I was like, well, what does it pay? And he's like, man, grad school and $4,000 a year. And I was like, man, I took a walk with my wife and told her and was like, I said, what's the worst thing that can happen? I get a master's degree. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's the worst thing that can happen. And so she took that journey with me. We went to Union College, man. Was there for 3 years. You know what I mean? First year was hard, bro. We had my son at the time. I was on a sofa bed. We slept on a sofa bed, and my son slept in the corner on the cushions. You know what I mean? In the corner. And after we paid rent, man, my check per month was like $186. And we ended up getting on food stamps. She was embarrassed. I was like, man, this is what they make food stamps for. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm just chilling. And we were taking turns calling our parents to pay for the car note. We had one car, you know what I mean? And then the next year, she ended up getting a job on campus as a dorm director.
Okay.
And they paid her $4,000. And so now we're making $8,000. Living in the dorms for free, and so it just kept progressing from there. And then I graduated. I ended up with like an educational specialist title, and she stayed, and she graduated, and then I moved on to Fairmont State, which is where she's from. And she was there for like 7 years, and I was the special teams coordinator. And throughout that time, man, I was doing, I was just hustling, man. I wanted to get to the highest level, and I ended up doing an internship in like 2006 with Bill Cowher. His last year
with the
Steelers. And I did an internship, and Bruce Arians was the OC. You know what I'm saying? And I did an internship, and then that next year, Mike Tomlin became the head coach, and I called Bruce Arians like, Coach, man, I'll come up and volunteer. It was like an hour and a half away.
Right.
I was like, man, I'll just come volunteer. I don't care. And he was like, well, come up. Tomlin wanna meet you first. And man, I got there like 9 o'clock. Waited. I ain't talked to Coach Tomlin until like 3 p.m.
What you was doing all that time?
Just drinking coffee.
That's a lot of coffee.
Well, I was drunk on coffee, dog. You know what I'm saying? I was wired, dog, shaking.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And man, I talked to Coach Tomlin for like 5 minutes, and Bruce Arians stood on the table for me, man. He came in and was like, BA stood on the table for you, and I don't have a problem helping out young brothers like yourself. He was
Right.
like, so you're more than welcome to come. And so I volunteered with the Steelers for 3 summers during mini camp and OTAs. So when everybody else was chilling, you know what I'm saying, in May and June going home, man, I was doing mini camp and OTAs with the Steelers up there and working
Sharpening your
with them,
skills.
sharpening my skills, man, volunteering, dog, and just networking and learning, you know what I'm saying, and taking everything that I liked and trying to put it into what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of got me to be meticulous with a lot of things and detailed. And through that time, I also did interns with like the Falcons and Green Bay Packers and the Rams, and so like every summer, man, like I was working. And at the time, I look back, at that time I didn't, but now I look back and I'm like, my training camp started like June or July, like 21st or 2nd or something like that, because that's when the NFL camps come. And then when I finish their training camp, I come to do our training camp at the college.
Right.
So
On the
I'm
fall
always
camp.
like doing training camp for me was like 5 weeks. You know what I mean?
It's the grind,
But
boy.
I was working. I didn't think about it at the time. I just was out there hustling. You know what I'm saying, and doing what I could. So, my 7 years at Fairmont State, I was able to do all of those internships and volunteering with the Steelers and all that stuff like that. And like I said, I just wanted to grow, man. And I ended up having to take a step back financially to take a step up. And I went to Nickel State for 2 years, man. And I was at Nickel State for 2 years.
You're down there in the Tri-Parish.
Down there, man. You know what I'm saying? And in Thibodeau, you know what I mean? And getting it in and had some good experiences and learned. And after 2 years, Western Kentucky opened up, and Bobby Petrino was the head coach. And I played for him at Utah State.
No, I never knew you played for Bobby Petrino.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I never knew that.
Now, my college career, I had like 3 head coaches. And so the first head coach recruited me, Charlie Weatherby. He was there for a year, and then he left. And then the next year, for 3 years, it was John L. Smith was the head coach, and Bobby Petrino was the OC. Paul Petrino was the receiver coach. And so I played for him. And I played for a lot of dudes. Like Gary Patterson was on that staff at one point.
Come on.
Jim Zorn, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, big bumpers.
Jim Zorn, he's the coach for the Saints and was the head coach at Florida.
Yeah.
No, he was the head coach for the Seattle Seahawks. He played in the league. You thinking of the other Zorn? No, Jim Zorn is an older dude.
Rick Zorn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like and so it was a bunch of dudes, man, that I played under, but Paul Petrino was my receiver coach for 3 years, and I learned a lot from him, man. And
Yeah, that's Bobby Petrino's son.
that's Bobby Petrino's brother.
Brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, Bobby Petrino brought me in. He actually brought me in to do an internship when he was a head coach for the Falcons. I did an intern. That's when I did my intern with the Falcons.
Okay.
And then
That's when he left Louisville and went to the Falcons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I did where else? But yeah, so I played for him for 3 years. He was a receiver coach for 3 years. Paul Petrino, man, is his brother and everything, and I learned a lot from Paul. And didn't appreciate it at the time. You know what I'm saying? And but I appreciate it now. And a lot of the stuff that I taught as a receiver coach when I coached receivers was really from him. And then I was at Nickel State for 2 years. I was at Western Kentucky, and then Bobby Petrino left, went to Louisville. I stayed with Jeff Brown for 2 more years.
Okay.
And then Frank Wilson got the job at UTSA and called me, and it was a no-brainer, man.
And that was his first head coaching job.
That was his first head coaching job. I'm gonna tell you a little quick story about that too. So he called me, and I'm telling my wife, like, "Hey, man, about to get a job at UTSA." Frank called me, man. He said he's gonna bring me in.
Right, that's my people.
And she's like, "Okay." We kept talking, man. We kept talking. I talked to Frank about 4 or 5 times about the job, and my wife said, "Well, how much he gonna pay you?" I said, "I don't know."
She probably like, that's the first thing you should ask.
She was like, "You don't know how much he gonna pay you?" I was like, "He said he got me." You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm scared. You know what I mean? I'm like, "Oh man, dang, so, all right, let me ask this dude, man." So I ended up asking him how much he was gonna pay me, and it was almost twice what I was getting at Western. And so I was like, all right, whew, you know what I'm saying? So I was good. And
wife's forehead.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And Frank took care of me, man. And Frank, I would say probably was the best head coach that I had as far as like making me better. You know what I'm saying? Like I think other coaches made me better from how they did things. As far as when I was at Virginia, the coach was like always wanting me to steal possessions, and I had to be creative with stuff. But Frank made me better as far as narrowing down some of the things I said and pinpointing how I did things and stuff like that, and limiting your cut up film and all those meticulous detailed things, man. And some of it, and I told him the other day, man, some of it was annoying. You know what I
Right.
mean? I used to turn around, roll my eyes like this dude, bro.
Right.
But when I went to Virginia, so after I was at UTSA for 2 years, when I went and interviewed at Virginia, I used my drill tape that I put together from Frank. You know what I'm saying? And got the job over there. And so he taught me a lot in that regards, man. Even recruiting and how you do things and leaving your mark and stuff like that. Wherever you go to school, man, leave your mark. Like, you was at this school? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I can't tell. You know what I'm saying? Just stuff like that, man. And you know what I mean? So I give my man a lot of credit in helping me groom as a coach. But then I went to Virginia for 4 years, man, and was successful over there. And that's kind of where I grew to be more creative.
Y'all had a good run too.
Yeah, we had a real good young. Went to the Orange Bowl and you know what I'm saying, ACC Coastal Conference, and brought some dudes up from the boot. You know what I'm saying? My man KT signed with the Detroit Lions. And my man Dontavian Wicks is with Green Bay Packers drafted, and that right there, man, was just like the proudest moment, because if you would have seen when we went to his high school how he is now and how he was then, you'd be surprised. You know what I mean? Because he was I won't say shy, but he was nervous. You know
in
what
a
I mean?
shell.
Yeah, he was in the shell, man. He was nervous. He didn't know how to talk to everybody. You know what I mean? He was scared to open up. And that's how a lot of these kids are. You know what I mean? You got a white man with a suit on, another white man with a sports coat on, and you know what I mean? And we all surrounding him and asking him all these different things, like, what do you want to major in? What classification is your brother? And they're talking all of this language, and he's just like, yeah, you know what I mean? Because he's nervous, man. And to see him open up, man, and grow, and I think he graduated almost like a 3.0 or maybe even higher. Graduated in May and got drafted, man. That was like one of my proudest moments.
Through some adversity at Virginia, man, with the injury.
Yeah.
And then the mass shooting. Man.
Yeah, that was rough, man. And seeing that, and at the time, I was at Virginia for 4 years, and then head coach resigned, and I went to FIU, Florida International. And I remember when I heard about it, you know what I'm saying, how it hit me, I can only imagine how it hit them while they were there.
So you wasn't down.
I was not there at that time. No, I was at Florida International at the time. And when I heard about it, man, it was.
I mean, but he knew all those guys.
Yeah,
I knew all of them. The one that lived, Mike Hollins, was one of my recruits.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You high right up the road, man. And I remember when it happened, I remember calling his mom, and she was getting on the plane. You know what I mean? And she couldn't even talk. And I was just like, I didn't know what to say to her. You know what I mean? It's like I didn't know what to say to anybody, really. And so I'm trying to call her here who got what happened to who, and who really is it, because it was conflicting reports. And man, I closed my door, man, and just started crying.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was rough. It was rough for me, and I can only imagine how it was for them.
You talk like I hear about like the long and treacherous journey that you was on to get to where you at right now. And we was talking about this on a previous podcast. How influential was it, like having like your wife there to support you all of the way through?
Man, I wouldn't have been able to do it without her. Would not.
How you got her to understand and sacrifice with you, bro?
I hypnotize her.
There's
man, she, you know what I mean? Like I always tell people, man, marry the person that's gonna make you better. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously all the looks and everything else matter, but she made me a better person. You know what I mean? She still to the day makes me a better person. And you know what I mean? If I wasn't with her, I don't know what I'd be doing. And so with all of this journey, is just like when we started off and I was working, and we took a walk, and I was like, look, let's go to Union College, man. Let's get this master's degree, and we'll see what goes from there. And I think just after that, she's always believed in me, man. She's always been like my best friend as far as just believing in me, pushing me, allowing me to be able to go. You know what I mean? Like my vacation days, I was on a 10-month contract at Fairmont State, so I really didn't have to work during June and July. You know what I'm saying? But I'm spending a month out of my vacation going up away. You know what I mean? And so her allowing me to do that, man, and I say allowing because we had kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? I had to take care of kids. So whenever I leave, she gotta hold all of that burden with the kids and stuff like that. And so, with her and traveling, she kind of did this little thing. We got like a little text thread, Team Brumfield. And so it's just us. You know what I'm saying? And we just talk on that, man. It be us. Sometimes it's brutal now. Like at the games,
Come
bro.
on, man.
Bro, at the games, man, my sons, dog, I'm telling you, dog,
They don't
sometimes
hold back.
bro, don't hold back at all, dog. I be wanting to choke them out. Like, bro, I come in the locker room after loss, it'd be like 80 missed text messages, man, and it'd be like 60 from them, and they just in the thread talking. Like, what are y'all doing? What was that called? That was stupid. Like, y'all practice special team? You know what I mean? Just be killing me, dog.
Right.
And after the game, I just be like, bro, I don't even want to talk to y'all. You know what I mean? But it's real, man. And I think what it did was it kept us together as a family. So like everywhere we went, it was us. You know what I'm saying? It was us, man. It's Team Brumfield. Like it's gonna be us.
Us against the world.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's like, shit, I went to West Kentucky, it's us. UTSA is us. Virginia is us. And then we'll kind of expand as we go. You know what I mean? And so she was influential because she allowed me or she let me do what I wanted to do to be able to grow. And she didn't try to hold me back. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Man, we always talk about the different trials and tribulations and adversity these kids go through when they get into college, right? But what we don't talk about is some of the adversity and things that coaches go through. I remember last summer, no, after the summer, going into during fall camp, I believe, a player that was in your room, in your linebacker room, bro, died. As a matter of fact, I think the day he died, you were supposed to come on the podcast.
Yeah.
And man, I remember when you called me, bro, I could hear it in your voice, man. You had been crying. I could just tell how emotional you was and how it affected you. Man, talk about dealing with that, man. Coaching a kid, seeing him every day. I mean, he's probably seeing you more than he's seeing somebody in his family because he's in your room. Talk about how you had to deal with that, man, how that affected you and how you was able to deal with that going forward.
Still to the day, man, it shit choked me up, you know. And being able to see him every day, and you're in the room, and you coaching a kid, and you laughing, you making fun, you know what I'm saying, and you talking about each other and stuff like that. And like a whole 2 weeks after it happened, you look and ain't nobody in that chair.
Right.
And nobody wants to sit in it either, you know what I mean? Like everybody like, man, this is his chair.
Right.
And it just, what it did was, man, it make you realize, just like the street, you know what I mean? Kids can be, it can be here and it can be gone. And so all I do is, man, I try to treat everybody like it's my son. And I love them up. I go off on them, but I hug them up too. You know what I mean? And so I feel like if I could treat them the best I can possibly treat them, then that's all I could do. You know what I'm saying? And we try to remember him. And it happened the same year, you know, later on that year, that's when the Virginia thing happened.
Yeah, that's what I'm
And
saying.
so it was just like, I was just like, damn. Like, you know what I mean? Kind of made me question a lot of things. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, man, you know, you just pray, hope for the best, you know, hope for his family the best. And just, man, just keep coaching kids and realize, you know, a lot of people say it's a business. It is a business technically, but it ain't, man. It's like we trying to keep young men off the street and we trying to help young men grow and be successful in life. And when I say successful, I'm not meaning make millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? Being successful is being happy. So you can be a high school head coach, you happy, you successful. College head coach, you happy, you successful. You know what I'm saying? Running a podcast, bro, you happy, you successful. And so I think all I'm trying to do is just help kids, man, grow to be young men, well, from young men to be better men.
Do you think, because I'm sure you didn't coach over 1,000 kids.
Yeah.
Right? Do you think that happening to you with a kid in your room passing away, then the kids at Virginia passing away, did that make you kind of reset yourself and say, man, I can't take for granted for each kid that I touch, each kid that I coach, each kid that I have a relationship with?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I don't think you can, and it don't matter if a kid is good or not. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like, I never really cared if a kid, like, honestly, some of my favorite players weren't the best players.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, some of my favorite players, man, they weren't that good. You know what I mean? But they were like great men, great dudes, great people. And I'll never take that for granted. You know what I'm saying? And like, when I first started coaching, I just love football, bro. You know what I mean? I wore cleats at practice. I'm doing the drills with them. I'm doing all of this stuff. And I'm like, man, it's about football, you know, and this and that. And my first experience where I felt like I helped a young man grow in life is, I don't want to say his name or who when, but he came in my room and was like, Coach, man, I got this girl pregnant. You know, I'm going to quit and get a job. I'm like, where you going to work at? And he told me a place, and it was like what are you going to do with that for the rest of your life, dog? Like, you ain't going to be able to grow with that job, it's like the baby ain't even born, right? So you need to prepare for a long while after the baby is grown. So graduate. I ain't even talk about football. I just like, man, graduate, do this, and then you can work to get the job. I mean, all you gotta feed the baby is baby food right now. They ain't costing a lot, bro. So take care of yourself first. It's like the airplane, right? You know what I mean? If something happened, put the mask on your face first and then do it. You know what I'm saying? So you can't just take care of her right now. You got to take care of yourself to be able to take care of her in the future. And we just was talking, man. He just kept coming in the office, talking, talking, talking. And I really ain't think nothing about it. So at the end of the year, we used to always have the seniors come up and talk. And when he came up, he was like, man, I like to thank Coach Brumfield, and just basically threw down everything I did. And I was in the back, like, you know what I'm saying? My head up, like, trying to blow the tear back up, you know what I'm saying? I was like, and he was just talking about how I helped change his life. You know what I'm saying? And still to this day, I talk to him. Not all the time, man, but still to this day, I talk to him. You know, they owned a couple of fast food restaurants and stuff like that.
That's what's up.
And he's doing he's successful. You know what I'm saying? He's happy. He's making money. He's happy. He's doing good. Daughter is grown and all that stuff like that, man. And so
Man,
for
that's
me,
crazy, bro.
I'm always like, look, man, if you make it to the league, anybody I recruit or anybody I coach, if you make it to the league, I really didn't get you to the league. You
Right.
It's God-given ability. You utilize what we have. A couple of drills I showed you, technique or whatever the case. But man, my goal in life is to have somebody come back and say, hey, coach, man, thank you for helping me become a better man. This is my
Yup.
wife. This is
Yup.
my son. This is my
Yup.
daughter. This is what I'm doing. That's when I'm like,
You can't put a price on that.
no,
that
bro.
feeling?
Like those opportunities, man, but to coach that one kid, to tell me that is worth it. My whole career. Like my whole career is worth it. Like I'm not gonna be able to save everybody or whatever the case, man. But all I need to do is try to save one.
Man, I'll tell you, like what you said is so powerful because I talked to G about it like a whole bunch. Like I've coached kids that's in the NFL now. I've coached multiple All Americans, like nationally ranked kids and all this stuff. The crazy thing too, like I had 3 kids pass away,
Yeah.
on me, in the high school level, and the craziest thing was throughout the state championship, all the little scholarships, signing day stuff. My fondest memory is my former players invite me to a wedding, invite me to a gender reveal, invite me, you know what I'm saying, seeing me or seeing my wife and just like running up like, hey, you know, tell coach boom, 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 boom. And just like and to see the family still like when you just come around the family, like it's always still coach. No matter like some of these kids, I 25, 26, own family and stuff now.
Yeah.
They coach. They
Right.
coach. Man, look, you're a man now, man. Coach. Coach. Like,
Yeah.
man, like that's the best feeling because when you do it from your heart,
Mm-hmm.
it has no and you're not looking for a handout.
Nah.
You're not looking for like, your paycheck is that kid leaving and coming back the next day better than when he left.
Exactly.
He showed up that same day. To me,
Exactly.
that's the biggest thing about culture that they don't talk about. What I want to ask you is, what about the mental health for coaches, especially African American coaches?
Yeah.
On your level, because like you don't hear that either. Like you had a loss in your room. What are some things that not only you had to do to kind of get yourself mentally, all right, I gotta show up the next day, but also because you're a grown man, life happens. Marital stuff going on,
Kids.
house,
Yeah.
kids, this, that, no, and you still, and when you show up, you gotta be able to like, all right, hey, what we do on Red Bud special, so how do you reset, refocus, and keep going on, and it be a positive, not just something that you just, all right, we're gonna toss back there, we're gonna keep just cramming it
Right.
back, cramming it
Yeah.
back, cramming it back.
I mean, honestly, it's one of the hardest things to do. You know, if you got a passing away of a kid, you still got to move on. Unfortunately, you got bills to pay and you ain't got the money to pay it. You got to move on. You know what I mean? And I think, as far as the mental capacity about it, man, it's one of those things where for me is I just say, man, I got to go. Like I really truly, it ain't really deep about it. It's just I got to go. I got to do this because if I allow myself to show it in front of kids, I'm holding them back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm bringing them down with me. So it's like crabs in the bucket. You know what I'm saying? If something bad happened, man, I'm not trying to. I'd rather go down myself. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather hold all of the stress in my family myself because I feel like I could deal with it. And I'm gonna have to blow some steam sometimes, and I might stress out sometimes, but I feel like I can handle it. You know what I mean? And so what I do with is, man, man, I got to move on. This is not for me. It's not about me. So when I go in that room, you know what I mean? It's not about me. It's about everybody else. It's about the head coach and his family, the receiver coach and his family, the DB coach. You know what I mean? It's like everybody here to win games and do their job as coaches and to stay hired, man, to feed their families. And these kids are coming in here with their blood, sweat, and tears to work to try to win. You know what I mean? I can't allow me not being able to pay a bill, or I can't allow a loss that happened hold all of these guys back. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like now I'm hindering all of these dudes. And so it's always easier said than done. But man, I just say to myself, it ain't about me. You know what I'm saying? It's about these guys. So if I got cry, if I got to get mad, punch a wall, whatever I got to do in the privacy. And then when it comes to public, man, we got to do our business. We got to move on. Because I also got to teach them to grow too.
Yeah.
I got to teach them that, you know what I'm saying? Like things don't shut down in life forever. Like you got to grieve. You got to do what you got to do. But things is not going to be permanently shut down. Like life is going to go on. And so you got to learn to deal with it. You got to learn to be able to cope with it. You got to be able to learn to, you know what I mean, to hold it in and be able to explode at a certain way or find a way to explode and get it out. You know what I mean? And so in my mind, I just say, man, look, life goes on. I got to grieve. I got to do whatever I got to do. But when I get in this room, it's not about me, man. It's about everybody else in this whole building. And if I let this incident or if I let this situation control what I'm trying to do, then I'm messing over everybody.
Man, the documentary Al Just America came out a couple weeks ago. It's been streaming on Hulu. Been a big talk on social media and just different people I've been talking to, not only in Louisiana, but you know, I got family members in Atlanta, my family members in California,
ATL.
Texas, and you know, they've been hitting me up about it, and just people kind of getting an insight on what actually goes on, not only just in Algiers, but in New Orleans. You grew up in the cutoff in Algiers, bro, and not too many people make it out, and to be successful. You were one of those people, man. Talk about growing up in Algiers in the cutoff and being able to maneuver through all the different things that could have pulled you the wrong way, bro.
Yeah.
But you still was able to, you know, keep that narrow path, man, and make the main thing, and that is, you know, you play football, man. You went, got your degree, you got your master's. Now you're a successful African American college football coach at a premier university like Georgia Tech.
Yes, sir. Man, I think it was just really my daddy, man, kind of getting me away from all of the bad stuff. You know what I mean? And so like, you know, growing up in Algiers and the cutoff, man, like I saw all of that stuff, and to be honest, I kind of wanted to do some of the stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Especially
I
when
saw
you were
that,
young.
like, oh man, I want to be like him. I want to do that. You know what I mean? You go play at the park with one of the dudes, and you like, man, I want to be like him. You know what I'm saying? And it's just you kind of see that, man, and you kind of idolize that a little bit. But my dad was able to tell me, nah, bro, you gonna go over here. You know what I'm saying? Nah, you gonna go over play at Norman. You gonna go play at Shaw. And you know, I had jokes about it. You know what I'm saying? And people made fun of me and mess with me and stuff. But
Robert Green talked about that because he grew up in Algiers, and his people sent him to John Curtis, and he said a lot of people was, you know, making fun of him, like, "Boy, you going to Curtis?" So
yeah,
that's crazy.
Like, and that's what they're gonna do. And half of my partners went to St. Aug. You know what I'm saying? Like half of the dudes I hung with went to St. Aug, and I went to call my seventh. At the time, call was only 7th, 8th, and 9th. And so I went to call my 7th grade year, but I was already planning to go to Shaw because the playground I played for, Coach Hank Tierney's sister ran it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I went to the Shaw games watching Mickey Joseph and all them dudes. I was running out getting a tea. So I'm like, man, I want to go there. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what Shaw was popping.
Like, yeah, it was on
Sharon Carey, all them boys went through
all
that.
them junk, man. So it was like, and the Shaw in the 90s, dog, was off the chain. Like we was sending like 8, 9 dudes D1 every year.
Stay
so
seeing them on Friday Night Football.
I'm like, man, I'm going to Shaw. And so my whole time, I could have been the first graduating class at Carr. But I ended up, you know, 8th grade, I went to Shaw. And my dad kept me away from a lot of that stuff. So instead of being around it all day long, I was only around it a couple hours a day. So when after school or whatever the case, I still go over there and run, you know what I mean, over there and playing basketball in the cutoff and all that stuff like that, get my hair cut there on Blair and everything, you know what I mean? And so it's like he kind of kept me away from it a little bit, and then also just a mixture of playing. Man, I played football, basketball, and baseball. So it
So
was
you
like
had no time for the
I ain't had
streets.
time, bro. I was always practicing. I was always gone. I was on baseball trips. I was always doing all of these other things, man. And I was kind of out of the streets because I was playing ball.
Mm-hmm.
And so growing up, I loved ball so much that I did what I had to do to play.
Right.
Like, you know, I was
You didn't
telling,
want to mess that up.
I didn't want to mess it up, man. I was telling somebody else's story. I could say it now on TV because my kid, my Paul ratted me out. But you know what I'm saying? Like when I was in high school, bro, I didn't care about football. I mean, I didn't care about school. I just cared about football.
Right.
Like I didn't care. Like I'd fall asleep in class. I didn't care, man. And then at the end of the year, my senior year come and schools come by. And Coach Hank was like, go get your transcript and give it to him. You did it, you give it to him. You know what I mean? So I had to give
Oh
them my
man.
transcript. They look and they like, and I ain't gonna say what I had on TV on the podcast, man, but I wasn't eligible. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And luckily enough, I got the eligibility in like late April, man, and Utah State held a scholarship for me, and so
Come
I
on,
was able to
man.
go. And so I always tell people today, like, look, man, the better you do in school, the more options you have in life. I had zero options, bro. Like my only option was this Utah State. And,
Far away
and
from
and I
home.
talk about my dad lying on me because I told my kid, well, I got a master's degree now, so I can brag about that. But
Right.
I always told my kids, like, man, that's all you got, 3.0, man. I had 3.5, like, because I knew they always wanted to be better than me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just kept telling them what I had, GPA wise and DPA wise. And man, I had this. That's all you got? Bro, you got a B? You could have got an A.
Right.
And I just was on them. My oldest son graduated with like a 3.4, went to Colgate,
Mm-hmm.
graduated. He got a master's degree in 4.5 years. My other son is in college right now on an academic and football scholarship. He had like probably a 4.2, I think. You know what I mean? And I remember probably about 2 or 3 years ago, we at home. Now all of this time, bro, I'm at my house, man, my mom's house, and my dad come over, and they just start talking, yeah, Ricky, oh, he wasn't even eligible. And my mama like,
So
oh,
y'all.
remember when you had to take that summer school course
So
in Spanish? I'm
y'all.
like,
So y'all.
you know what I mean?
What
And
your
so,
kids say?
man, them boys looked at me.
You mean to tell me?
That's kind of like when you
Yeah,
find out
bro.
Santa Claus ain't real.
Yeah, dog. I'm like, really, bro? You gonna tell these dudes this, man? And my mama ratted me out, my daddy ratted me out. I was like, all these years, man. And so they ratted me out, man. You know what I mean?
But the
But
work was done.
it was done. I was good. That's why I wasn't that mad. But I was like, man, y'all done snitched on me, man. But nah, man, just it's all lovely though, seeing all them grow, man, and feel good to see where I was and where I could have been to where I'm at now, man. That's why I'm always proud to say, man, I got a master's degree, man. I graduated, and when I actually started caring about school, bro, like when I got into grad school, I actually I actually cared.
Right.
You know what I mean? And my
Right.
GPA showed it. Like I got 1B my whole time in
But your
grad school.
mindset probably changed. You
Yeah.
matured.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
Do you think growing up in the cutoff, then going to Shaw, which that's two different worlds,
Hmm.
but it gave you kind of like that balance.
Yeah.
Like even like when it comes to recruiting, right?
Mhm.
Because you can relate to kids that come from the hood,
Yeah.
and then you can relate to kids that kind of was privileged.
Exactly.
Because you got best of both worlds. Do you feel the same way?
100%, man. Because I think in life you got to learn to deal with all different races and
Yep.
religions and creeds, everything. You got to learn to be able to talk to different people.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so I can go, wherever and talk to this person, talk to that person. You know what I mean? I know how to, I don't want to say switch it up, but I can communicate
Yep.
with
Yeah.
everybody. You know what I'm
Speak that
saying?
language.
I can speak that language with them. You know what I mean? Like when I'm talking to somebody and you can tell he a little rough dude, man, I can be like, hey, bro, hold on, dog.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or I can be like, hey, how you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to be able to learn to talk to
Code
different
switch.
people, man. Yeah, you got
We've all been there.
you got to learn how to talk in the boardroom and in the corner store. You know what I'm saying?
There you
So
go. There you go.
you got to switch it up.
Because that was a good question. Because I'm just assuming. Because like I'm from a rural, so I'm just assuming that you're Baptist.
Baptist?
Mhm.
Nah.
You're not?
I'm nothing right now, dog.
No.
I'm searching.
No, you was raised Baptist?
I was raised everything. I was raised. I was raised Southern Baptist.
Okay.
I was raised Southern Baptist. I went to First Agape and went to Second Mount Traum across the river. My mom now is non-denominational. I went to Catholic high school.
That's why I was going with it. Because like from the hood, raised Baptist, go to a Catholic school,
Yeah.
then college is Mormon.
Yes.
In the Mormon, so it's like you didn't got
Right. I didn't even think about that.
like the tour. You didn't, the only major religion you missing is Judaism and Muslim.
Hey, I didn't see it all. And you know what, man? I haven't been baptized, but my family is Mormon, LDS. You know what I mean?
For real?
And yeah, and a lot of people don't even realize that. But yeah,
So
man.
on you talking about like
My wife and my kids.
right. So, but your immediate family, like your mom and your daddy side.
Oh, my mom and my dad. My mom is she was born and raised, and she raised me Southern Baptist.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And now she's like, I think it's like a non-denominational church. And my dad is he's in another religion. I don't even know the name of that religion.
Seventh-day Adventist.
You know what I mean? He's one of them.
I mean, because like that gotta just that's more than just like your average culture shock. Because like especially like growing up, like St. Aug was like the hood dream.
Yeah.
Like get that, and I never understood that, but like especially New Orleans, like that's what like if you can go in school, go to St. Aug. But then like in the hood, the nickname was like, man, they the purple punks. You don't want to go over there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like Shaw was like, all right, that's the privilege school.
Yeah.
So it's like you got the hood, like all right, first culture shock came, you up in here with rich white kids.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like, all right, not only you in here with rich white Catholic kids, now you going to Mormon town.
Yeah.
And which is like the culture, like at least down here, you still like it's still West Bank of New Orleans, so like it's not a culture shock all the way, but then to go away and like far away, you know, so that had to be like something.
That was like the biggest thing for me, man. It was the biggest culture shock ever. Like I was ready to come home after like a week. You know what I mean? Like I went out there and they was talking about all the mountains and feel the water that's coming down and the water's cold because it's the snow that's melting all the way at the top. Man, and I thought it was cool, you know what I mean? But I'm like, and even the first time I saw snow, I'm like, and then the second day, I'm like, man.
I don't know if I can get used to this.
I told my mom, I remember write my mom a letter talking about the food is awful. I ain't gonna ever gain weight. I'm not eating this food no more. You got to send me some food. I'm leaving. I'm coming home. All of that stuff, man. And I never even heard of the religion until I got up there. You know what I'm saying? And you know, my bless my grandma, man. But I remember her telling me something. I'm not gonna say what she said, but I didn't know anything about the religion. And then I was like, oh shoot. All right, I remember the commercials. You know what I mean? And then I started seeing the commercials, man. But like for me, you know, being around all of the different religions and races and cultures and everything else, man, I'm to a point where I'm like, man, you believe in God and you trying to be a good person and you good with me. You know what I mean? The one thing I always hated was when people like bash another religion.
Right.
Because I'm like, man, every single religion has somebody that has done something that made the religion look bad. Right. So whether it's Catholics, whether it's Baptists, whether it's LDS, it's really the people that has messed it up. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, you could believe what you want to believe, man. And it might not be true to me, it's true to you, but it don't matter. It's like, man, if you trying to be right, you trying to believe in God, you trying to be a good person, then for me, what does it matter? You know what I'm saying? You going up to the next level and it is what it is from there. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I don't like is when somebody bashes another religion. Like, who am I just because I believe what I believe to tell you wrong?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, what you believe? Oh, that's stupid. Y'all believe this? Oh man, that's so dumb. Like, bro, how you gonna say what I believe is dumb? Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how I always felt. And the reason why I feel like that is because I've been to all of those churches, man. I've been to Southern Baptist Church. I'm in a non-denominational church like numerous times. LDS Church, I go there now. You know what I'm saying? Catholic Church, I did all of the masses when I was in high school. So I saw it all. I've seen it all. You know what I mean? And so that's my opinion of how I feel. You know what I mean? And so for me, you know, just kind of broadened my eyes to a lot of different things.
What I want to talk about, man, is and I asked Coach Dave Johnson about this when he was on the podcast, and it seems like in 2023, bro, it's so many successful black coaches from Louisiana, preferably New Orleans. You know, you talk about Dave Johnson at Florida State, you talk about Cortez Hankton at LSU, Frank Wilson at LSU. You talk about Carday Hankton, who's at University of Virginia, your old stomping ground. Tony Hall at Grambling, Coach Jabbar Jaluk at Florida, Brock Hayes at Troy. I mean, the list goes on, and I know I'm forgetting about some people because there's so many. But what has changed, man? And why is it today? It seems like more black coaches from Louisiana, like I say, preferably from New Orleans, is getting those opportunities. And not only are y'all getting opportunities, y'all taking it and running with it.
I think we all helping each other out. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just talking to I was talking to Jabon and Dave, man, about this, and we was just talking like we don't hate on each other. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, man, there's so many kids in this city and in this area that we can recruit. Like, why would I hate on Jabbar? You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Why
Right.
would I hate on Dave and be like, and me and Dave, we in the same conference.
Right.
I ain't gonna ever say nothing bad about the dude, man. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, he a
Mhm.
good dude, bro. Knowing when he was a head coach at St. Aug, like,
Mhm.
why are we trying to take away from each other, man? We can share the wealth and all grow at the same time.
Mhm.
Like, you might get him, but all right, I'm gonna get him. You know what I'm saying? And it might be a good fit for him to go to Florida State or him to go to Florida or him to go to Troy or wherever it is or LSU. You know what I'm saying? And it'd be a good fit for them to come to Georgia Tech. Like we all understand that, man, and we kind of communicate with each other
Mhm.
and be like, hey, you know, they'll call, hey Rick, man, what you gonna do with him? You know what I'm saying? Are y'all really gonna take him? If y'all
Right.
like, nah, bro, we ain't gonna be able to take him. All right, cool, I'm on it. Hey, tell him about me. You know what I mean? I'll be
Right.
like, hey man, you need to holler at your boy over there, bro. He gonna take care
Right.
of. Hey dog, you
Right.
need
It's
to
a real
holler at.
fraternity.
Yeah, it's a fraternity, man, and we all take care of each other. Not one person hate on each other, dog.
Right.
Not one, man. It's all love because we all either worked with each other, grew up with each other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Friends with each other.
In the
Like how
same circle with
I'm
each
gonna
other.
see you again, bro.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, how I'm gonna hate on you and then look you in your face?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And none of us do that, man. Not one of us do that, man. It's just everybody just trying to grow. We all trying to help each other. Man, we talk ball with each other.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I used to work with Frank. And you know what I'm saying? All of them dudes, man, we all try to take care of each other, man, because the more we can help each other out, the
Mhm.
better off we gonna be as a group. You know what I mean? It don't make no sense to try to hold somebody down. Like I said, with coaching, we trying to help young men.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, shoot, we all men, but we trying to help each other out too. Like, I don't need to take all the money. I mean, we can let's spare it, let's share it, man, and everybody grow.
Frank Wilson. Everybody call him the OG.
Yeah.
You know, is it safe to say that he's the pioneer behind all this? Why there are so many successful black coaches in college football right now?
I don't know about the pioneer, but man, he's the reason for a lot. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Like I know, shoot, I worked for him. I think he Brock played under him.
Mhm.
Jabal Day worked for him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
The,
so I mean, damn near. You know what I'm saying?
the coaching staff. I just think about when I was in high school, the coaching staff that he had
And
at Walker
Walker.
alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, Tony,
Jabbar.
Jabbar. It's two more that I'm missing that all went college.
Mm-hmm.
When he left, it was like next. Who's next? Who's
Yeah.
next?
They
Who's
all
next?
start
Who's next?
growing.
You know, he's definitely the pioneer for New Orleans.
He in the way he is. At first, I was like, I don't know, but now that I'm saying stuff, man, pretty much is. You know what I mean? And even me, you know what I mean? My 2 years working under him, man, and how much I grew from him. I can only imagine, like Dave and them. I remember going to school when he was at Walker, and he had them boys wearing shirts and ties, and
Mm-hmm.
he
And
had,
you see a lot of high schools mimicking it.
yeah,
People wasn't doing it.
nah, and it was a discipline thing, and it was him with. He had tutors for them kids, man. He made sure they go to study hall before practice. You know, he was disciplined with them, man. He was on point. Like I think he always has had like a CEO business management type of mind. You know what I mean? And so I think he always did a good job of just running the program, man. And I think what he did a great job of is knowing who he wanted to hire and hiring the right people. Because you know Frank know a lot of people, and he probably related to half of the people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He
Right.
probably related to the whole cutoff.
Right.
But you know what I mean? As far as him knowing a lot of people, is a lot of people wanted to work for him,
Mhm.
and he had to turn around or turn away some people, and they probably hate him for it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But
Right.
I think he had a good eye of who to hire and who to have under his wing and who to help, you know, grow and mold and stuff like that. And I think that's why you see me, and you see people like Dave and all of those guys, and you know what I mean, that kind of grown under him and did their own thing. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And
Mhm.
but yeah, he meant a lot to him.
I want to ask you a football question because, like, I understand it, but I'm not gonna sit here and say like I'm a guru in it because, like, I don't dig into it. The special teams aspect of coaching,
Yeah.
the special actually, because most people, especially like your average fan, like even like your average coach who don't deal with like the delegation of certain tasks in the said program, just like hey man, put your best athlete back there
Right.
and let him do what he do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's not always the case. They don't get understand, hey, look, we gonna set the wedge to the boundary and we know he gonna cut it back to the field because we sucking everything in, we funneling this and that. Just talk about like the intricacies of that and how do you prepare, how do you game plan for a dynamic person or whatnot, and how would somebody like who think they interested in special team aspect like really set themselves to grow in that field?
I think if you want to grow in that field, man, you need to go and learn as much as you can as far as going to clinics. I wouldn't even say clinics. Go and talk to other coaches. Because when you go to clinics, a lot of times it's broad. You know what I'm saying? It's so wide range because nobody's trying to give away their stuff. You know what I mean? But when you go to another school, you go to college, like, you coach here in Louisiana, man, go to La Tech, go to Nickel State, go to Southeast and talk to those coaches and really sit down and get the details of it because it's way more detailed than you think it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? And from a special teams perspective, biasly, we're the next up from a head coach. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, should we have a team meeting and they say, all right, special teams, the only people leave are the quarterbacks. You know what I mean? And then when the field goes over, then you tell the O-line leave. But I'm talking to almost the whole entire team, at least 75% of the team every single day, at least.
Third phase.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I personally try to make people believe in how important it is. And, sometimes you got to argue with people because I'm like, hey, man, it's 1/3 of the game. You're like, well, offense is 75 plays, defense 75, and special teams 30. That's not 1/3. I'm like, yeah, it's 1/3, bro. Your piece may be a little bit bigger than my damn piece, but it's 1/3. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
1/3, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I always say, man, how you start the game, bro. You start the game with kickoff. And so when we start meetings, I'm like, man, how you start the game? What time the game start? And everybody like kickoff at 3. Yeah, because special teams start the game. Not I ain't put the ball first and 10.
Right.
And so I think the first and foremost thing, man, is that the one thing that I do is, and I believe is having passion, right? And my name is on it. And so I'm willing to, I'm willing to die for it. And so when it come out there, man, my life is on the line, bro. My family is on the line. This is how I feed my family. So I'm not going to go out there and be like, all right, set the wedge, kick out 1, 2, and 3. It didn't work. Like, hell nah. Y'all set it up 12 yards in front of the returner. How many yards? 12. You know what I'm saying? Pushing up 5 and you kick out that dude. Where the double teams at? Where yard line? You know what I'm saying? And where the single blocks at? How we doing this? Who you got? What kind of step is this? What kind of step is that? And so I think when it comes to special teams, you got to be specific. You have to be detailed. You have to see those details. You have to harp on those details. And you have to make them kids do that detail. And you have to make them believe. And you have to find a way every single time to make them believe because my career growing up, you had the freshmen, right? And they all want special teams. Why? Because they want to play.
Right.
They ain't playing offense, defense. They want to play some kind of way, so they want to play special teams.
Right.
Then you get the older kids that just want to play. They ain't playing yet. They just want to get on the bus, so they want to play special teams. But then when they the starter, then they start fading away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to capture the minds of the starters. And I tell them, I said, man, there's reasons you play on special teams. There's a reason because you want to get on the bus, because you just want to be on the field, because you just want to help the team, because coach said, hey, you got to start on the special teams, or you want to make it to the league. I don't give a damn what it is. You better pick one of those 5 and let's go. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how we always talked about it. And I think I always try to show like examples of how kids make it to the league, you know what I mean, on special teams. And I show examples of the reason why you play special teams and the importance of special teams and how it can hurt the team if we're not good on special teams. You know what I mean? Like I remember showing film one time and it was crazy because we actually had the kid in the room. When I was, you know what I mean, at the other school I was at,
Right.
we had Bryce Hall who had got drafted. He played corner on punt return and he was a safety on kickoff. He gets drafted to the Jets. And you look and on his film on defense and special teams, special teams he's playing punt return cornerback and safety on kickoff. And so I showed a couple of clips in college. I'm like, look at this dude. Look at this dude. What are you playing right here? What are you playing right here? And then I showed his NFL clips. What's he playing right here? The same thing. You know what I'm saying? And I tried to relate it to, bro, what you're learning in college is going to help you in the NFL. And so I think it's about capturing the minds of everybody, all wide range. Like you can't just talk to one group. You know what I mean? You can't just say special teams is important. Let's go. It's 1:30 game. Let's go. Like you have to make them believe. You know what I'm saying? Because they're gonna lose interest in it. You know what I mean? And they're gonna kind of fall asleep in it because it is like 70 plays on defense and offense.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so you got to find a way to make them excited to be out there. You know what I mean? And show them the importance of it and show them how important it is to be great on special teams and to believe in it. And for me, it starts with me. And it starts with me being passionate. And it starts with me giving them all of the details. So when you talk about schemes and stuff like that, you know what I mean? One thing that I learned doing those internships in the NFL is, man, you gotta be picky with what you do as far as double teams at the 35-yard line. Well, what is that? 35. Single blocks where? The 30. Well, why are you not at the 30? You wrong. You know what I mean? Like, what step is this on
Gotta
punt
be real
team? It's a
particular.
J step. Why is it a J step? Because there's one man outside my frame. What is this step? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I try to keep it simple, but look extravagant. You know what I mean? So everything you do, you want to make it look extravagant.
So in your opinion, since like with doing the internship at the NFL and coaching college ball as long as you have, you think the biggest difference in the two levels is the details?
I do. I think the difference is the details. When you get to the NFL, they scheme differently because it's a little more personnel driven and things like that. But what I learned from them from an individual standpoint, yeah, is the details of it. And when you get to college, you know, sometimes some people just feel, man, just get the ball back to the offense. You know what I mean? When it's punt return, kick return, just get it back to the offense. Kickoff, punt, just don't mess it up. You know what I'm saying? And my mind frame ain't like that. Like I think
Trying to steal possessions.
how I'm gonna steal possession every game.
Flip the field position.
How I'm still in possession. I don't care what it is, man. If I go on 2 on punt, go. You know what I'm saying? Or fake a punt, or fake a field goal, or do something, or let's go block this kick, or let's go punt return. We got 2 returners. You know what I'm saying? Kick return, man. I'm faking a reverse or something. Like I am trying to steal a possession without putting my team in a bad situation. And so, however I can steal a possession, then I'm gonna try to steal that possession because that's gonna help my team win. You know what I mean? And so I'm always trying to find some kind of something to be like. If I was a high school coach, I would probably spend more time on special teams. Like I don't understand why people don't. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't have those details of special teams. You know what I'm saying? And I think you could steal so many possessions in special teams, especially on a high school level, like crazy, man.
Devontavian Morton, who's from my hometown,
Yeah.
played at Washington State, but ended up finishing off at Oklahoma State.
Mm-hmm.
Led the Big 12 in receiving. Was the Fiesta Bowl MVP, right? Goes undrafted to the 49ers. The only reason he made the final 53 because the special teams coach loved him. And he was an impact player on special teams. And we talking about like a phenomenal player. I just said he led the Big 12 in receiving, bro.
Tremendous potential.
You know what I mean? And so, you know, it goes back to what you say. You know, some kids, they get a little butthurt when they find out they got to play special teams. But what you fail to realize is if you ultimately trying to get to that next level and get paid for this, you might have to play special teams.
Yep.
Racey McMath, who played at Edna Carr, played at LSU, got drafted in the 6th round. He made his mark on special teams. Now we starting to see some burn at the receiver position, but his first couple years in the league, bro, was special teams.
Yep.
Right? And so, you know, I'm glad you brought that up because people forget about that third phase and don't understand how important it is. Percy Butler played at UL Lafayette, got drafted in the 4th round by the Washington Commanders. They said he was the best special teams player in the whole draft.
I just think about too, like people from our era that are not necessarily our era, the people that we did watch the league for a long time now, that stole checks. Like, you know, like just being so dominant on special teams, like somebody like Cordell Patterson, Devin Hester, like, hey, you are so special.
Troy Brown.
You know, Dante Hall. You know what I'm saying? Just hey, you're so special to do. Let's see if we can get you another skill set.
Steve Gleason.
Oh, all right. So now you can not only let's do Cordell Patterson because he's the one that's still in the league right now. Not only can you return punch now, you still got you was a receiver for most of your life, so that's not going away. Now we can also put you in the backfield and run the ball too.
Yeah.
And at any given time, go make a play happen. You're second to Devin Hester in return touchdowns, and somebody who was a bust, quote unquote, because he didn't excel at his position that he was drafted at, has been in the league almost 15 years.
Yep. Yep. There's people, man, that one of my guys that worked with me at UTSA, he played in the league for 8 years, pretty much all special teams. You know what I mean? And that's 8 years in the league, man. That's 8 years of NFL paychecks.
And
You know what I'm saying? Playing on special teams. And it's like, bro, what's better than that? You know what I'm saying? You even save your body. If all you play with special teams, you save your body. So,
Right.
And it's just like, man, I always tell the kids, like, you love football. And they're like, yeah, so why wouldn't you want to take an extra play?
Right.
Like, why wouldn't you want an extra play, bro? Like, if coach said, man, if you're going to overtime, you're going to play. So why the hell wouldn't you want to get on this kickoff team real quick? You know what I'm saying? And kids coming like, hey, coach, man, I'm going in the next series. Can somebody get me? Like, nah, bro, we'll get you on the next play. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can take off this next play because obviously you don't think this kickoff is important.
Right.
Because it was one play for a large chunk of land. So if they return this ball at the 50-yard line, bro, then you covering somebody at the 50. So would you rather cover at the 50 or would you rather cover at the 20? And if you really love football, you're going to do it.
Right.
Like, go. And if you need to take a play off on defense or offense, man. And that's how I've always felt. Just because I've coached special teams so long, man, I have passion and I'm always used to fighting for it, man. Like sometimes, every once in a while, man, I get tired of fighting. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, I'm tired of fighting for special because like every day I gotta fight. I gotta fight coaches. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes coaches be like, man, how much all this special teams time? You know what I mean? And they don't want to give you that time. You're like, say, bro, you can cut the time short and we can start the ball at the 50 if you want. You know what I'm saying? And call it fair catch every time and start at the 25, bro. It's on you, homeboy.
Right.
What you want to do?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it ain't gonna be a touchback every single time.
Right.
And then if we miss a field goal, then you're gonna be crying about why we ain't make this field goal.
Right.
So what you want to do? Or you want to take 8 hours doing defense? You know what I'm saying? And skip everything else. And most of the time, man, you know, coaches just be messing around and stuff like that.
Right.
But you know, sometimes every once in a while, some coaches, some coaches, boy, the O-line coaches be wanting their endo. O-line, D-line coaches, boy, they be wanting their endo, man. Hey, what we got today?
Right.
Kick return? All right.
Right.
They be like, we ain't doing field goal today. All we done, they be wanting
10 more minutes.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They be wanting that indie, dog. But I get it, man. You know, everybody want to be great, man. But you know, I just always had a passion for special teams, man. And honestly, it's one because my name is on it, man. And everything I want to do, I want to be great. Like I want to be known as the greatest special teams coach in the world. You know, they used to talk about like Beamer ball. Like I want to be Brumfield ball.
Yeah.
Like I really do. You know what I'm saying? And it's not me coming from a selfish standpoint, like me, I. But like when I want to see when you talk about Georgia Tech football, like I don't want the paper to say offense and defense had a great game. Like, I want them to say special teams, offense, and defense. You know what I mean? Like I want them to talk about all three phases, because I'm in charge of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if I'm in charge of it, man, I want it to be great. You know, I don't need my name plastered out there, but that's just my mind frame as far as I want it to be Brumfield ball. I want it to be great, man. I want it to be when they talk about Georgia Tech football, I want them to talk about special teams.
No doubt. Yeah. Before we're ready to wrap up, I do want to ask you this: the landscape of recruiting is definitely changing and evolving year in and year out. When you talk about NIL, when you talk about the transfer portal, and you've always been known as a really good recruiter, bro. You know, you talk about those group of kids you got up there to Virginia that was impact players.
Yeah.
Right. And now you're at Georgia Tech, you know, back in that conference in the ACC, man. How are you attacking recruiting these days versus how when you was at UTSA, at Western Kentucky, Florida International? Like, you know, what are some things that you feel like you got to do a little differently now, you know, as it pertains to recruiting these kids in this day and age?
Really just telling them more about the school and where we're at. And what helps me out is the kids I did recruit in the past. And, you know what I mean? They're speaking for me.
They're testimonies.
Yeah, they're testifying for me and they're saying, hey, you know, Coach B is a good dude. You know what I mean? You look at, even at St. Aug, the head coach at St. Aug, Nick Foster, I recruited his brother.
Yep, Ethy.
You know what I'm saying? Ethy, man. And Ethy graduated with me. And Ethy still he probably, if you're listening, he probably mad at me because I ain't see him yet. You know what I'm saying? But like, we still got a relationship, man.
Yep.
I recruited that boy back in like 05. And so, you know, when I talk to like a Nick Foster, like we like family.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like his mom and dad used to bring me hot sauces when they used to come to the games and stuff like that. So like we like family. So like at my past recruiting, kind of helps me with the present and the current recruiting. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then just that's where I'm at right now, man. It's a high academic school.
Yep.
It's a high academic school, and what I tell kids, man, is it's like Tulane and LSU put together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Tulane education, LSU football. And so when you look at those two different things, man, it can't be anything better. So the difference now is just really kind of going in depth with the parents and recruiting the parents and the families more, and they got all these NIL things and stuff like that. But at the same time, NIL is all temporary.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like while you're in school and that's it. And so you have to look for life after football.
Yep.
Like, what are you going to do for life after football? And so you have to kind of just start showing those people and recruits and players and parents like what they're going to get after football is over with. You know what I mean? And so the way I recruit now from in the past, it was mostly just, hey, come to the school, look what we have.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And playing this offense, playing this defense.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, look what you're gonna have after football.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is what you're gonna have after football, man. You're gonna get a good degree, you're gonna be able to network.
Especially in the city of Atlanta.
Bro, you right there in downtown, you look out your window, you see Google, you see TNT, you see all of these Fortune 500 companies. We're right there. And so not only you're gonna have your degree, but we're gonna put your degree to work.
Yep.
There's some schools say, hey, we got great academics. Here's your degree, go find a job. Well, we're going to have networking and internships for you during the summertime. And so now, here's your degree. Oh, by the way, remember the company you intern for?
They're ready to hire you.
They're ready to hire you. You know what I'm saying? So, I tell kids all the time, I'm like, look, bro, you want to make it to the league, right? Well, what's a great NFL career? And usually they give me a number like 5 to 10, right? And I say, okay, you tell me 5. When you graduate, you're going to be 20. I mean, when you finish playing football, you're going to be 27 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you think you're going to live off your NFL money the rest of your life? It ain't happening.
Right.
So imagine stashing your NFL money and then graduating and having a networking and going to a college where the starting salary is number 1 in the state of Georgia. You know what I mean? And so, we talk about those things and let them know, I let them know the opportunities they're going to have life after football. I really don't even talk football a whole lot.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, once we get into it, we'll talk when they ask me about the offense, the defense. I don't even talk about football a lot. I talk about my journey. I talk about the reason why I care about academics. I talk about, how I was raised. I talk about being ineligible. Now I have a master's degree. My wife has a master's degree. My son has a master's degree. My other son, you know what I'm saying, is on the dean's list in college. And so, I talk to them about those things and the importance of education and academics, and that I don't just say it, like I live it. You know what I mean? And I didn't believe it in the very beginning when I was 17, but I believe it, man. I wouldn't be here right now if I didn't have what I had.
Do you feel like the parents, like with the rise of the NIL, do you feel like the parents are like throwing like NIL stuff at you more than like, hey, what type of education my kid could get? Is it more on the landscape or not? Man, look, Georgia is offering my kid 1.3. This one's offering my kid what can you do? Kind of like the blue chips deal.
Sometimes, man, but like I really haven't personally dealt with that because you really aren't supposed to talk to them about NIL or the money and stuff like that. Once they get that, it can be talked about as far as different companies and different things and the deals that we have for other kids and stuff like that. But I think a lot of times it's more the parents worrying about the NIL money than the kids, so to say. You know what I'm saying? And so luckily I haven't had to deal with it. You know what I mean? I just deal with the recruiting part, man, and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
I kind of let that roll.
Just do your job.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I just do my job, bro. I try to bring them to the table after that. Hey, you know what I'm saying?
So you, coach.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man, you definitely in a prime location like Atlanta, man. I mean, for those of you that are listening to this podcast, if you've never been to Atlanta, been on Georgia Tech campus, bro, it's a beautiful thing.
It is nice.
It's beautiful. There's a lot of successful African Americans in Atlanta. I've had a bevy of people that I grew up with that has moved to Atlanta and is highly successful, man, owning businesses, working for some big time companies, making some good money, and just seeing a lot of success down in that area. So, I think you're in a good situation over there at Georgia Tech, man.
I love it, man. Like, honestly, I love it. 2 out of 5 graduates become millionaires at some point in their life, man.
Man, I probably start my pitch off with it.
Bro.
I'm starting off.
Hey. You know what I'm saying? We put it out there, man, and they have like a billboard, and we got a couple edits and stuff that talk about that, man. But like when I first got there, I heard it, and at first I was like, You know what I mean? I was like,
You start looking at the numbers.
then I start looking at the numbers and I start realizing, man, this is a high engineering school. It's a technology school. It's a software. You know what I mean? They have a lot of those. Those are the base. I don't say base, but those are the top degrees. And those degrees produce a lot of high salaries. You know what I mean? So I see it. And I see the networking and I see the Fortune 500 coming.
Yeah,
I'm
no
like,
doubt.
and then everybody I know, now most of them are in football, but I swear to you, everybody I know that has graduated from Georgia Tech are millionaires. You know what I'm saying?
I need to get 5 people with me and say, look, we going to Georgia Tech. We gonna sign a deal. Like,
hey, you know what I mean?
2 out of us make it. You know,
Right.
We split the bread.
Split
The
Right.
bread. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, you can't help but make money if you're around money. You know what I'm saying? Like you gonna be broke if you're around broke people. But if you around people with money, you're gonna make money.
Show me the company you keep. I'll show you who
You
you
know
are.
what I'm saying? So if you want to make money, be around money.
But y'all to a good start, man. You got
Yeah.
a boo boy committed already, man. Hopefully, you get a few more signed on before signing day. Before we let you go, man, we gotta get into Coach Ricky Brumfield's favorites, man. Here we go. Favorite NFL player of all time.
Jerry Rice.
There we go. Frat brother.
Play receiver. I always want to be like Jerry Rice, man. I wasn't the fastest, but that boy Rops was cold.
Right.
I did have hands though. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. You was like a Chris Carter?
Bro, I used to sweat glue, dog. Sweat glue. Ball just stick to my hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Favorite movie of all time.
I heard you ask I was thinking about it, man. I got really 2, bro. Like football movie or sports movie was The Program.
That's a good one.
Program.
That's a good one.
You know what I'm saying? I remember Darnell Jefferson return that punt, looking at the hand like this. You know what I'm saying? At the end, that was like my favorite part, man. And then I like The Usual Suspects, man.
Okay.
Kaiser Soze. I don't know if y'all remember that. You remember that?
Right.
You never heard that?
No, I remember.
Yeah,
I said
yeah.
up to like that's the answer that we hadn't
I need
heard.
to go back and watch that
Usual
movie.
Suspects was off the chain, man.
I need to go back and watch that.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite sneaker of all time.
I would probably say like Air Max 95s.
That's a good one.
I got about 5 pairs.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
No,
That's a good one right there.
You don't know about the Air Max 95s?
No, I'm not a shoe person.
Yeah.
You know, so like if it ain't, I'm just being honest. If it ain't the pumps,
I had some
BK
pumps.
Deep brown pumps.
I had some pumps.
So BK
I used
Nights,
to really pump the things. I'm thinking it's gonna make me jump high.
man, look, my
Some
dad.
soldieries.
Man, what? Come on now. Hey, my dad beat the crap out of me because I got some pumps, and I was like he let me have them for my birthday, and I'm just up there.
Right.
Like, man, stop! You gonna bust it, man. Whatever, man.
But you know what's so crazy? When
And
you
that sucker,
pump 'em, it do make the shoe tighter.
yeah,
Yeah.
When that sucker bust, and I had to go home. Like I'm talking about, like this is within hours. And I had to go home and see him. Ain't want no pumps no more.
Favorite comedian of all time.
Comedian, dang, bro. Man, I was a big Chris Tucker fan, man.
Oh,
You finally got you
finally
one.
got me one.
You
I
finally
got me one.
Chris
It took
Tucker,
you
dog.
80 years.
Yeah,
Remember
man.
Chris
I
Tucker?
got me one.
When was Chris Tucker was on Def Comedy Jam back in the day, dog? And he
Told
robbed,
y'all,
he
man.
robbed his mama. He robbed.
Told y'all, man.
You know what you doing? My mama picturing you first.
Yeah. If Chris Tucker don't go Muslim, I'm telling
Hey,
y'all, we
man.
talking about him
Chris Tucker,
as one of
bro.
the top comedians of all time, dog. But he went
I-
Muslim.
Yo, I'm just
That's your guy?
what? I
What?
didn't. I'm just being honest. I didn't see.
They
it.
laughing at me like
Bruh.
Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker was funny.
I'm
dog.
like, dog.
Go back and watch Def Comedy Jam.
Dog,
dog.
I remember because my dad had every season on VHS. So like it was
Yeah.
like that and Kings of Comedy was like
Yeah.
like we watched the tape of that like every weekend. So
Mhm.
like I know him like, but to me like it was the Bernie Macs, not the Avery Spears. What is Avery's last name?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Arnett J.
Yeah.
You know, like it was like those like those,
Earthquake and them.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was like,
Nah, them dudes was funny too.
Yeah,
dog.
yeah.
it was
yeah.
like I couldn't,
Yeah.
Mike could call you and all of like all right, once I'm in that.
But I'm just telling you, man, all that junk, man, like everything Chris Tucker be doing, like with money talks and he in jail. He talking about, man, take me to jail, man. I'm going back
Yeah.
to all my friends and family, man.
Yeah.
I don't care. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
everything he
dog.
did was that junk was crazy.
As a matter of fact, I just watched the movie last night, the new Jordan movie.
Air, yeah.
Yeah, I just watched Chris Tucker in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
he in
movie.
that.
He not the CEO of Nike, but he was the I forgot.
I
What
forgot
his
what it was.
title
It wasn't
was.
marketing. It was
Yeah,
something.
I think it was marketing.
It was
It
something
might have
like
been.
that.
No, it wasn't marketing. The other dude was marketing. I forgot what his title was.
Something like
But
that.
it's a hell of a movie, bro. It
Yeah.
show you how Sonny Vaccaro signed Jordan.
Yeah,
and
I want to see it.
yeah, I watched it, bro. It's a hell of a movie, dog. Favorite coach of all time, no matter what level, that made the most impact on you.
It has to be Coach Hank.
Tierney.
Yep, Coach Hank Tierney, man. Like
I think Big Fave said that
Coach
too.
Hank, Coach Hank Tierney, man. His wife Joanne, his sisters, Miss K. I played at the park with Norman, Miss K, and Miss Nell. Like took care of me, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you look at, hate to say the race, but two white women, man, it was like my mama, yeah.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a lot.
Yeah. Still to this day, man, I got nothing but love for him. I still, if I got time, you know what I mean? Like when my family come, I go see Miss Nell and Miss K. As many times as I can. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I let them see my family, man. Like I grew up at their house. You know what I mean? Like I used to walk to her house, man. They give me a ride to school and stuff like that.
Right.
Give me pancakes and everything. You know what I'm saying? In the morning and stuff like that. Like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like they took care of me, and it wasn't taking care of me from they thought I was gonna be this type of player, take care. It was
out of love, just
straight out of love, man. It was out of love and just trying to see me be good in life. You know what I'm saying? And kept me away from a lot of different things, man. And took me places and picked me up and stuff like that, man. So like I got nothing but love for Miss K, Miss Nell, but Coach Hank, man, was like probably the greatest coach I ever had because he was still to this day, this man could yell and cuss us, and we got to take it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he also loved us, bro. Like he used to pick us up sometimes and go off on us, man, watch film, and then give us some pizza, bro. Give us a ride home. You know what I mean? And give you lessons that you don't even realize till afterwards and stuff like that. So, big time shout out to Coach Hank, man. I'm glad he backed at the, you know what I'm saying, at the Archbishop Shaw High School.
Hopefully you get it turned around.
I hope so, dog.
Favorite rapper all time?
Man, my favorite rappers that I could listen to every time, I'm gonna say the best rapper probably lyrically, I'm gonna say is like Lil Wayne, obviously. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite rappers, man, that I could listen to every single song, I'm gonna say two of them, Juvie and BG. I can listen BG, and I honestly some of it too is because I know what they saying is real. Like I used to see Juvie. I used to see Juvie every Sunday, bro. Every Sunday and Thursday on the lake. You know what I'm saying? Then we go down to the Dagger Shop on Crowder.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Out in the street. And then on Thursdays, you see him at the House of Blues.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Juvie all the time, dog. I used to see BJ sometimes, but I knew what they talked about was real. And when they talked about something like, oh, I know what he's talking about.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right,
Oh, over there. Oh, over there. Like Durban. All this stuff they talked about, I knew what they were saying. But like for me, those are my two favorite rappers, man, like of all time. Like I can listen to them dudes every single day. If you're talking about lyrics and everything, you got to say Wayne and I heard homeboy Jadakiss that dude too.
But he just didn't go commercial.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm playing BG. That's why I put. You look on one of my Twitters, man. I had put free BG because they said he was getting out. So I tweet all that, man. Free BG, bro. You know what I'm saying? What's happening, dog? He don't know me from Adam, dog. I'ma still be like, what's up, dog?
Right. Last question for you, man. What's Coach Brumfield's end game?
I want to be a head coach. I want to be a head coach at a college program, and I want to be able to be great doing it. You know what I mean? I want to be able to run the show. Like I said, I feel from a bias standpoint, man, I feel special teams is the next person up from a head coach. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I talk to the whole team anyway. And so I think all you got to do from there is just be able to coach the coaches.
Yep.
I think when you're a head coach, man, you just got to be able to coach the coaches and have them all on the same page. They may not want to agree with everything you're doing, but when we leave the room, this is what we're doing. And so, my end game is to be a head coach, man.
Well, you got your director of recruiting right there.
He in, dog.
If you need a D-line coach,
he know everybody, dog.
If you need a D-line coach, man, I hop.
You ain't getting all that indie time, dog. It's gonna be all special teams.
Just give me 20 minutes.
I got you. I can do that for you. I can do that for you.
Watch me work wonders.
I can do that for you, dog.
With your 20 minutes.
Hey, man, I done had a coach say you got 5 minutes of indie.
What?
My first coaching job, and it's crazy because I was thrown into a coordinator spot, but the head coach was the opposite coordinator. So I was the offense coordinator, he was the defense coordinator, and all he wanted to do was go one like best on best, and like to see who, like he's one of those I'm gonna
Poke
show
your
you.
chest
I'm gonna
out.
show you I'm better than when the offense did what it did. The next year, let's switch roles.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Then when the defense did what it did, it was like he was like, you only get 5 minutes of Indy. So whenever pick the group, you get that 5 minutes, and so I had to learn.
Lord,
How
that
to
5
lead.
minutes go by so fast.
Man, tell me about
5 minutes for D-line coach?
Man, look, I don't want to stretch no nothing. Hey, let's get it, baby. Hey, squeeze it.
Wrong on me. Wrong on me. Set the edge.
Hey, go to the 3, baby. Don't go upfield.
Right.
All right. All right, let's go.
I be doing individuals doing one-on-ones. Hey, y'all two do one-on-one. Switch.
But I'm also the king of stealing time. If you over there, we gonna go over packing. They ain't got shit to do with up, baby. Let's go.
Right. Real talk. Man, Coach Brumfield, bro, I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Appreciate
like
you
I
having
said,
me,
man,
bro.
we've been talking about getting you on here,
Yeah.
man. I knew, a lot of your journey, man, and I know your story, and I wanted you to come over and share that with the viewers, man, because like we always say, man, when we bring different guests on this podcast, we know it's going to inspire people, man.
Mm-hmm.
We want to entertain people, we want to educate and inform too, man. And I know there's going to be a number of people that's going to take stuff that you talked about today and be able to apply it to their life, as well as me and Coach Hen. You know what I mean? And that's all we trying to provide on this platform, man. Keep on elevating, man. I didn't know you wanted to be a head coach, but guess what? We're going to speak it into existence, man.
Let's get
Power
it,
of the tongue.
Let's get it,
You
dog.
will be a head coach.
There you go.
Let's get it.
There you go.
Let's
There you
get
go.
it.
There you go, man.
And when you get it, when ESPN break the news, we gon'
No.
run back this week.
No. ESPN ain't gonna break the news.
But
Come on now.
Y'all gonna break the news, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
Just send me the tape, G.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's.
I'm gonna let you know when you can break it. Boom. Then ESPN gonna
You
break
know what I'm
it.
saying? Because the school, you know what I'm saying? Some schools were like, hey, look, we breaking. You do what you gotta do
Yeah.
after.
When they break it, what's your thing? You know they got that doo-doo-doo,
Yeah.
doo-doo-doo. What's yours?
I gotta come up with something.
You're now rocking with.
I gotta come up with something, man. Man, make sure y'all subscribe to the FanView Live page, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to the G Sports page. Share to a friend, to a friend, to a friend, to a friend. And let everybody know, man, this is the #1 podcast, not only in the state of Louisiana, man, but in the country, man. We gonna keep doing our thing, man. It's Coach Hen, G Sports, Coach Brumfield, man. We signing out.
Peace out.
Step Construction is here for you with a brand new offer. We now provide affordable storage sheds. Stop wasting your money on overpriced storage units and portable containers. Step Construction can provide you with a custom shed that will fit your budget and storage needs. So contact Step Construction today at 504-340-5809 for your own personal quote. Let us help you take the next step at Step Construction.